Jesus Christ. That doesn't look like a glitch. This is your man Steve, and we are watching Classified Captures, so don't you go anywhere. This footage comes from Chitan, a village near a mountain region where locals notice something strange moving through the forest. A mountain goat suddenly comes sprinting into view, clearly running from something, and a few seconds later, whatever is chasing it appears behind it. At first glance, it looks like some kind of animal moving on all fours. The fur appears black and white, and from a distance you might assume it's a predator hunting prey. But the closer people looked, the stranger it became. The proportions felt wrong. The upper part of the body has an oddly human-like appearance, especially in the way it carries itself while running. It doesn't move like any predator people would expect to see in that terrain. And then comes the moment that really caught everyone's attention. When the creature leaps onto the back of the mountain goat, the movement looks so unusual that viewers almost immediately start questioning what they're actually looking at. Now, to be fair, mountain environments can play tricks on perspective. A wildcat, a large canine filmed from the wrong angle, can end up looking far stranger on camera than it would in person. Fast-moving footage and uneven terrain only add to the confusion. But people cannot seem to get past the torso and upper body proportions in this clip. That human-like shape is the detail that stops many viewers from accepting a normal explanation. A misidentified predator, a cryptid, or something nobody has properly identified yet, or whatever was chasing that mountain goat in Chitan has definitely left people unsettled.
Algo salió del bosque. Va detrás de la cabra. No, se la quiere llevar. Está tirando de ella. Pues mete ya. Está metiendo.
This clip comes from a longer urban exploration video filmed back in 2001 when a group of teenagers decided to explore the Barton Mansion in the Redlands of California. And honestly, the history of this place alone should have been enough to keep them out. The mansion was reportedly built on land believed to be an indigenous burial ground. Years later, the building itself was also used as an insane asylum. Two locations commonly tied to paranormal claims sitting in the exact same place. While moving through the dark hallways, the group briefly captures something standing inside one of the doorways. The footage is blurry, the camera is shaking, and the teenagers are clearly frightened. But when the clip is slowed down, people notice a tall figure nearly filling the entire doorway, and then viewers start focusing on the head. Many believe it resembles a pig. That detail sent the footage deep into paranormal discussions online because pig-like entities appear throughout ancient occult and demonic traditions across different cultures. Combined with the history of the mansion itself, some people believe the figure may be something far darker than a shadow in a hallway. Others think it's simply pareidolia. Yeah, I know, I can't say that word. Caused by poor 2001 camera quality and fear distorting what people think they see. Still, once your eyes lock onto the figure in the doorway, it becomes difficult to look away. What the hell was that? Jesus Christ! That's the nah. Close the fridge, leave the house, sell it, go to a estate agent, say you're moving, the mortgage, get the hell out of there.
Really scary. There's a crayfish and it's still alive in the fridge. What the
You guys know what I feel about low-resolution footage of any sort when it comes to aliens and all this sort of stuff, because to me it just stinks of AI or making things low-resolution to be able to kind of, make things less obvious. But this is supposedly upscaled low-resolution footage, so let's take a look.
hours, telling all the bluebirds, the Billy Cool birds.
Yeah, that's not upscaled. That's not upscaled footage, that's just AI. That's just taken, but it's just... Let's move on. A man near a construction site started hearing a strange metallic sound and pulled out his phone to figure out where it was coming from. That's when the camera lands on a shipping container sitting by itself on the ground. And then things get weird. The container suddenly begins folding inward, not all at once, but in a series of violent compressions, like something massive is crushing it, except there is nothing there. No machinery touching it, no vehicle hitting it, no visible force acting on it from any direction. It just starts collapsing in on itself. Now, to be fair, metal containers can fail under certain conditions. Extreme temperatures, pressure buildup, structural weakness, or environmental damage can all cause metal to warp or buckle over time. That explanation has been brought up by a lot of people online. But what makes this footage unsettling is the way the container moves. This does not look gradual. It looks sudden, almost controlled, like something is actively pressing down on it. And the thought of something powerful enough to crush a shipping container like that is probably why the man filming decides he's seen enough and starts backing away before the collapse finishes. Now, whether it was structural failure or something far stranger, the sound coming from inside the container is what really makes this footage difficult to shake off. A group of people in Yorkshire in the UK captured something strange moving through the sky, and the person filming said exactly what most people would be thinking in that moment. "Nobody's got to believe us, except I got it on film." That's me trying to do a Yorkshire accent. What they recorded appears to be a circular disc-shaped object moving steadily across the sky. Not extremely high and not moving particularly fast either. It just glides forward with this flat, controlled movement that doesn't look like any normal aircraft we know. The detail that really caught people's attention comes a few seconds later. A commercial passenger jet passes through the background at a clearly higher altitude than the object, and that, to many in the community, is enough to give this clip some authenticity. At that point, the disc can no longer be dismissed as a distant light, a star, or some atmospheric effect near the horizon. There is now a known reference point in that frame, a commercial airliner flying above it. Meanwhile, whatever this object was, it appeared to be much lower in the sky than people initially assumed. That's the big reason this footage spread online so quickly. Yorkshire is not exactly known as a major UFO hotspot, which only made this sighting feel stranger to people following the story. When reports like this start appearing in places that normally don't generate this kind of attention, it naturally raises questions. Was it some kind of experimental aircraft, a misidentified object, or something far more unusual drifting through the skies over Yorkshire that day? So one of you guys sent this next piece of footage into us, wondering whether it was a glitch.
Oh wow, that's a big one. Oh my god, that's a monster. Oh wow, that's a big one.
I'm not sure what it's supposed to be. That doesn't look like a glitch or anything. If it was to be believed, I would say that that was like a half-cloaked spaceship or something. What do you think? What do you think that could be?
Oh wow, that's a big one. Oh my god, that's a monster.
A couple driving through town noticed something strange on the truck ahead of them. Sitting on the back of a long transport vehicle, partially covered by a black tarp, was an object shaped almost exactly like a flying saucer. Not vaguely circular, a classic disc shape moving through the traffic in broad daylight. Most people watching the footage immediately said the same thing. There's no way a real government or military operation would transport something this secret, openly in public on a highway. And honestly, that's a reasonable point. But others argue the exact opposite. If you wanted to hide something unusual, making it look too obvious to be real would actually be the perfect cover. Most people would assume it was a movie prop, industrial equipment, or some kind of custom build and never think twice about it. And to be fair, that's probably the more likely explanation. Still, whatever was sitting on the back of that truck had a shape that's instantly recognizable, which is exactly why the footage spread so quickly online. Movie prop, industrial equipment, or something much stranger. What do you think they were transporting that day?
Bro, what the is that on 95? Yo. What the is this? Bro, like for real, what the is this?
Hey, y'all think this a UFO?
Here's a reminder that when you're out in the wild, you're not always the one doing the watching. A man standing on a cliff pulled out his phone and started zooming into the forest below him. He was not searching for anything in particular, just exploring the view. But when he zoomed in on one random spot, he found a leopard, and the leopard was already staring directly at him. That's the part people cannot stop thinking about. Leopards are capable of spotting movement from incredible distances, and with the level of zoom modern phones have now, the distance between them was absolutely within the leopard's range of vision. This means that the animal had almost certainly noticed the man long before he ever pointed the camera in its direction. And honestly, well, this is what makes that footage unsettling. Predators spend huge portions of their lives watching, observing movement, tracking sounds, studying their surroundings. Every time you walk through nature thinking you're alone, there's a very real chance something already knows exactly where you are. Thankfully, the man was far enough away to be safe. There's a long-standing belief that engaging with horror content, especially stories involving rituals, entities, or dark themes, can create a kind of invitation, almost like you're opening something that is normally meant to stay closed. And over the years, people who work in horror film production have even shared stories of unexplained activity that seem to follow them off set. This next clip comes from a man filming his girlfriend while she watches a horror movie. He's focused on her reactions, capturing her fear as she watches the screen. But while recording, something else pulls his attention. Above her on the wall is a doll, and it moves. Not a small shift, a clear, noticeable movement that immediately breaks the moment. He keeps the camera rolling and then it moves again, this time even more deliberate in appearance. That's when he cuts the footage. The interpretation that followed online is simple. Some believe the film created a certain psychological or even spiritual tension in the room, and whatever is connected to that doll reacted to it. Of course, there is an obvious explanation. A hidden string or mechanism would account for everything seen here, and stage clips like this are not uncommon in horror-themed content. But what makes this one linger is the reaction of the person filming. The hesitation, the fact that he does not immediately present it like a planned reveal, but instead seem genuinely caught off guard. A trick of timing, a stage setup, or something responding to the atmosphere in the room. Well, either way, that moment above the wall is what everyone keeps coming back to.
The Son, the Holy Spirit, by this sign of the Holy Cross of our Lord Jesus Christ, who lives and reigns with the Father and the Holy Spirit. Damien!
He's here.
Look down and visit.
You killed your mother.
You killed your mother. You killed your mother. You killed
witness was in their backyard winding down for the evening when they noticed 2 points of light in the sky. At first, is the usual assumption. Aircraft, satellites, something familiar. But the longer you watch, the harder that explanation holds. The 2 orbs are moving away from each other, slowly at first, then with a steady, deliberate separation that feels too controlled to be random. They do not flicker like aircraft lights, they do not follow a straight, predictable path like satellites crossing orbit. They simply separate as if responding to each other's position. 2 distinct lights, 2 clear sources, moving apart over a quiet residential sky. And that's what makes the footage difficult to place. Aircraft would show blinking navigation lights and consistent directional movement. Satellites don't behave like paired objects drifting in relation to each other in real time. And atmospheric effects rarely produce 2 separate stable points of light that originate together and then divide so cleanly. The witness was confident enough in what they saw to start recording, which says a lot on its own. Most people dismiss strange lights within seconds. This kept their attention. Whether it was misidentified aircraft activity, an optical illusion, or something genuinely unusual in the sky that night, the part that sticks is simple. 2 lights appearing connected, then slowly choosing different directions. And once you notice that separation, it's hard not to keep watching until they finally disappear.
你命大啊，兄弟啊，这个危险啊，只能要等消防来了。那我打一个消防打不通啊，没信号，都没信号啊。你们把后面的车子稳住啊，不要过来哦。啊，唔係會有報㗎，唔係。
Yeah, there's no coming back from that.
那有個手車，那邊有兩個手車。
How the hell are you gonna come back from that?
不要往那邊走。
But the fact that he's just sitting there calm as anything, like he's just having his packed lunch and a cup of tea or something like that. Maybe he's having a beer or 2. I'm not too sure, but if that was me, yeah, I don't think I'd be quite as calm as he's being, quite frankly.
你命大啊，兄弟啊，这个危险啊，只能要等消防來了。那我打一個消防打不通啊，沒信號，都沒信號啊。你們把後面的車子穩住啊，不要過來哦。啊，唔係會有報㗎，唔係。那有個小車，那邊有兩個小車啊。
The Molly Stark Sanatorium is one of those places that needs no introduction for people familiar with abandoned buildings. It began as a tuberculosis facility, and over the years, a significant number of patients died there. What happened after those deaths and how they were recorded has never been fully clarified. An urban explorer entered the building with a camera and torch, moving through its long, empty corridors. The footage is quiet, tense, and slow. Then at the far end of the hallway, something appears. This is where opinions split. Some viewers say it's a figure in a white shirt standing at the end of the corridor before turning and disappearing around a corner. Others believe it's simply an object on the floor catching the torchlight and forming a false human shape. Pareidolia, there's that word again, is a real effect in spaces like this. In low light, the brain fills in human shapes where none exist, and abandoned buildings are especially known for that. But others insist this is different. They believe the figure does not just appear but actually moves. Not light distortion, but a clear motion down the hallway. A place with that kind of history, a hallway like that, something that seems to react when it's filmed. What exactly is at the end of that corridor depending on what you think you saw first?
What the fuck is that? Yo, do you see that shit? Yo. What the fuck? Yo. What?
A security camera captured a split-second moment that has since been widely shared, and the image is difficult for many people to ignore. A man is on the ground trying to help his friend who had become trapped under a truck while working beneath it. Before emergency services arrive, while both men are alone in the critical situation, 2 blobs of light appear in the frame. one on either side of them. At first glance, it could be dismissed as a reflection or a camera artifact, but the shapes don't behave like random distortion. They appear structured, briefly resembling humanoid forms crouched close to the ground, positioned beside the man, on both sides at the same moment. Afterwards, the man assisting his friend said he believed angels were present. The outcome gives that claim weight. The man trapped under the truck survived with only minor injuries, despite the situation normally being far more severe. There are explanations on the table: lens flare, compression artifacts, or coincidence in lighting at a critical moment. But what stands out is the timing. 2 human-shaped lights, one on either side of 2 men in crisis, and a survival outcome that doesn't match expectations. And at that point, the question becomes less about what the camera recorded and more about what you think was actually there. A mother noticed a daughter waving at something in the room that she couldn't see and called her over to ask what she was doing. The child said she didn't know who she was waving at. When asked again, she described a small girl, a girl who looked just like her. Then came the detail that changed the tone. The mother asked if the girl was friendly. The child said no, because whenever she waved, the girl would bite her hand. We've said many times on this channel that children sometimes report things adults cannot perceive. Whether that's imagination, perception, or something we don't fully understand, these accounts appear across different cultures. At the same time, children are highly imaginative, and this could simply be a story shaped by that. But the detail is oddly specific. A mirror version of herself that reacts with aggression is not a typical invention for a casual imaginary friend. So what exactly was she waving at, and why did she describe it that way?
Can you tell Mummy who you were waving to?
No,
Why?
because I don't know who it is.
Okay, well, what did they look like?
A girl.
It was a girl.
Yeah.
And what did they look like?
It looks like me.
Is she mean?
Yeah.
When you wave at her and blow her a kiss, does she wave back and blow kisses back?
No.
No.
What does she do when you blow a kiss?
She just bites me.
Nature is one of the most beautiful and one of the most terrifying forces on this planet, and sometimes it manages to be both at the exact same time. This video was taken in Chihuahua, Mexico in May 2017, and it captures the exact moment a tornado begins to form. Watch it unfold, because it almost feels unreal. You can see the clouds start to organize themselves, pulling inward as rotation builds. A funnel slowly begins to extend downward, tightening as the system gains strength. What starts as a subtle movement in the sky quickly becomes something structured, deliberate, and unmistakably powerful. Scientifically, tornadoes form when warm, moist air near the ground meets cold, dry air above it. When wind patterns shift at different heights, they can create a rotating column of air that stretches from a thunderstorm cloud down to the surface. The conditions have to align very precisely, which is why not every storm produces one. And that's what makes this moment so striking. You're watching those conditions come together in real time. The person filming is standing close enough to witness something that, in a matter of minutes, could become destructive, and yet they keep recording. Whether that's composure or simply being locked in by what they're seeing, well, it's hard to look away once the process begins. Just don't find yourself in a field filming one up close. As beautiful as it looks here, what it becomes next is a different story altogether. Now, we always say don't ignore your dog's reactions, and this story shows exactly why. A woman was hiking with her dog when she stopped near a waterside area in the woods. A man suddenly emerged from the water and began walking toward her. She immediately felt alarmed and told him loudly not to come any closer. A dog reacted at the same time, barking aggressively and refusing to calm down, fully focused on the man. The combined reaction caused the man to change direction and cross the river away from her. After reaching safety, she looked into him and found out he had a criminal record and visibly identifying tattoos across his face and body. Someone she would not expect to encounter alone in a wooded area. In this case, the dog's behavior aligned with a real threat before she had any information. Animals often pick up on cues humans miss because they're not filtered through hesitation or social conditioning. When humans pause, animals react. Sometimes that reaction is just noise, other times it's the first warning you get.
This guy down here doesn't see me sitting here, and he's trying to creep up. Just do what he has no idea I'm sitting here. He doesn't see me yet. What are you doing? You can't get out here, sir. No! Don't! They'll come! They'll come! What are you doing?
This is a genuinely remarkable and sobering story out of South Africa. On April the 28th, a 59-year-old businessman named Gabriel Batista went missing after floodwaters swept his vehicle into the Kamadi River near Kamadipur. When search efforts began, police tracked a 15-foot, 500-kilogram crocodile that they believed was involved in his death. The crocodile was located, euthanized, and later airlifted out of the river by helicopter, with a diver assisting in securing it for extraction. Human remains were found inside the crocodile's stomach, and DNA testing is underway to confirm they belong to Gabriel Batista. The footage of a helicopter lifting a massive crocodile out of a river is shocking on its own, but the context behind it makes it even more difficult to process. A vehicle taken by floodwaters, a large predator in the same environment, and a recovery operation that required both divers and air support just to bring answers to a family. Nile crocodiles are among the most dangerous large predators on Earth. A 15-foot animal of that size is fully capable of overpowering almost any prey that enters its range. The Kamadi River is also established crocodile territory, and flood conditions only increase the risk by forcing humans and wildlife into the same unpredictable space. It's a reminder of how quickly nature can shift from background presence to immediate threat when conditions change. This girl is in the woods in Indonesia playing guitar and singing, completely unaware of what's about to step into her space. At first, nothing seems unusual, just a quiet forest and her voice cutting through it. But then something begins to move in the darkness behind her. Small shapes, then more. And slowly, they start to take form. Tiny humanoid figures. They're upright, small in stature, moving carefully through the trees. At first glance, they look like miniature people. Some appear to have cloth-like coverings from the chest downward, and instead of keeping their distance, they begin to move closer, circling her, watching her, staying just within reach of the light. And now it stops being background movement, and it becomes interaction. Indonesia is part of a region where stories of small forest beings have existed for centuries, including traditions like the duende in the Philippines and similar local accounts across Southeast Asia. These beliefs are deeply rooted and long predate modern media. But this footage is where interpretation splits. Because the movement looks coordinated, the presence feels deliberate, and whatever these figures are, they're not retreating into the forest. They're closing in, which leaves only a few explanations on the table. A staged scene, an AI-generated fabrication, or something in that forest responding directly to her presence. And as they continue to circle closer, one question becomes impossible to ignore. What exactly stepped out of the trees when the music started playing? Construction sites already chaotic enough without this happening. Workers were going about their day when they noticed one of the open letters moving, not falling, not being pushed, walking. It moves across the ground in a steady step-by-step motion as if something invisible is carrying it upright. Now, letters can shift on construction sites for normal reasons. Vibration from heavy machinery, uneven ground, and wind are all realistic factors in an active site. But those usually cause instability, wobbling, tipping, or dragging. And this doesn't look like that. The movement is steady and controlled, almost intentional in the way it crosses the ground while staying upright, and that's what makes it hard to dismiss. Construction sites also have a history of unusual reports, often linked to constant ground disturbances and older structures beneath newer builds. And even with that context, most explanations don't fully match what's seen here. Vibration, interference, or a prank are all possible. Still, none fully explain a ladder moving like it has a direction in mind. And that leaves one simple question. What on earth made it start walking? Every country has unique cultures and traditions that might seem bizarre to an outsider. Here's one that might leave you feeling a little squeamish. In this footage, a man is seen shaking large trays and hundreds of cockroaches come tumbling down to the floor. Tray after tray, he continues the process until the ground is crawling with these insects. Now, before you react with horror, let me explain what's going on. This man isn't just casually collecting cockroaches for any reason, he's actually harvesting them. Yeah, you heard that right. These cockroaches are bred intentionally and hold significant value in traditional Chinese medicine. They're processed and used in treatments for various ailments, from stomach issues to skin problems. Some even say that cockroach extract is used in modern medical products for healing wounds and tissue repair. While it may seem shocking or even revolting to many of us, for those within this culture, cockroach farming is a serious business. In fact, it's so lucrative that some farmers have made it their primary livelihood, and the demand continues to grow. What do you think about this practice? Could you ever see yourself embracing something like this if it were part of your culture? This next one is a sad one. The man you see on this clip got a message on his phone about an unknown voice coming from one of the rooms. He then heads there to see what's going on, and it sounds like the voice of a little girl. Why is this heartbreaking, you ask? Well, it's simple. He lost his daughter some months earlier due to a short illness. Could this be the spirit of his daughter calling out to him? Or is there a demonic spirit making fun of him? Let's hear your thoughts. This footage is said to have been captured by deep-sea researchers in the Mariana Trench, one of the deepest parts of the ocean. The video shows a tentacled creature with an unnervingly long mouth full of razor-sharp teeth, giving it a terrifying appearance. While the visuals are certainly shocking, something about it feels off. The way the creature moves and the eerie design makes me think it might be AI-generated. With how advanced AI is becoming, it's easy for computer-generated images to blend with reality. What do you think? Light can deceive the eye, especially when shadows are involved. This particular footage has sparked a heated debate online. A man walking home one night noticed a strange shadow cast on the wall. He describes it as an entity draped in tattered robes, seemingly floating above. Some viewers, like Aaron, support the man's claim, believing it to be a ghostly figure or some other supernatural presence. However, skeptics like Julius and others dismiss this, arguing it's simply the shadow of a coconut tree. When you closely examine the footage, you can begin to see why people are split. From one angle, the shadow looks unnervingly like a figure with the robes fluttering in an eerie way. But once you focus on the coconut tree theory, you can also imagine how the tree's branches and leaves under just the right light could create the illusion of something far more sinister. What do you think? A mysterious entity or just a trick of the light? Snakes are already considered some of the most dangerous creatures in the wild, but imagine a snake with two heads. Now that's truly trouble. A man stumbled upon something truly incredible. This two-headed snake slithered across the ground. The snake's body starts out as one, but halfway down it splits into two fully formed heads. In nature, occurrences like this are rare but not entirely unheard of. This phenomenon, known as bicephaly, happens due to two abnormalities during development, similar to how conjoined twins are formed in humans. It's been seen in other animals too, like turtles and lizards. However, cultural interpretations of two-headed creatures vary widely. In some cultures, they're seen as bad omens believed to bring misfortune. In others, they're regarded as symbols of good luck or divine intervention. So what do you think? Is this a fascinating quirk of nature, or does it carry a deeper, more mystical meaning? This was captured in Guatemala, Mexico. What do you think it is? I mean, it does look like a flying craft in the skies, but its shape and the way its lights are spread is unlike any craft we're used to seeing on this planet. This leaves us with more questions than answers. What exactly is this thing, and why is it moving through the skies of Guatemala? The paranormal community believes this is a normal in Mexico. Not sure if you know this, but many consider Mexico a hotspot for alien encounters, and this clip only proves them right. They believe this is a saucer whose cloaking mechanism may have failed or malfunctioned. I'm not too sure about that though, but hey, what do I know? A farmer was recording a video of his cows while they were grazing, and something strange happened. Count the cows. At first there are 3, but after just a few seconds, one of them completely disappears in a thin air. How could this even be possible? It's left many people wondering whether this is some sort of glitch in reality, or maybe even a real-life alien abduction. Others, of course, are saying it's just edited footage. So what do you think? Could it be a mysterious phenomenon, an elaborate trick, or simply a case of clever video editing? I've got a question. What would you do when you hear a voice that sounds like that of one of your loved ones inviting you outside, but you know that the individual isn't the one? That's what happened to this young lady with the voice pretending to be her mom. After she refuses to step out, however, it starts growling. Even if you were new here, you should know this one. Which cryptid do you think is responsible? The individual who captured this clip claimed he was hearing strange and weird animal-like sounds coming from the woods near him. Being the brave man he is, he ventured into the woods to check it out. He'd always felt there was something unusual about the woods near him, so he filmed his little adventure, and what he captured is what you see on your screens currently. If you pay attention to the clip, you should see some beady eyes staring back at him. That doesn't look normal. It doesn't look like any animal we know, and neither does it look human. This leaves only one explanation: a cryptid. But which? I guess I will let you guys decide on that.
Go running. Let's go for a run. Do you know how to do... Oh, you are Hawaiian. Can you go like this, like blow a kiss? Yeah. Hand to the face. Like, yeah!
Ever since Elon Musk showcased his Tesla robots, there has been a lot of buzz around them. Some think they will be the end of humanity, whereas others think they will change the world. This recent video, however, has had people thinking that the robots are becoming human, like this guy is actually showing emotions. While I think that will be interesting to me, I don't think that we are there yet. What do you say?
Rock, paper, scissors? Oh, raise the roof. Yep. Hey. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh, you're a little slow, but I beat you. Okay.
This video was taken in Portugal on what started out as a peaceful day at the beach. People were relaxing until something strange began to roll in from beyond the sea. At first it looked like an ordinary cloud formation, maybe a distant storm, but then it got closer and closer. And we see it. It's a massive horizontal wall of clouds slowly creeping over the ocean, gliding silently and almost too slow. And the moment it passed overhead, it felt like the entire sky was about to collapse. This isn't just a regular storm cloud, it's called a roll cloud. It's a rare atmospheric phenomenon that forms when cold air from a storm pushes under warm air near the surface, causing it to roll into this cylinder-like shape. Nature is beautiful, but sometimes it's scary. Now, vegans have taken their protest against meat to a whole new level. This footage went viral recently, and for good reason. A group of activists staged what looked like a herd-like protest, crouched in a field eating grass, or at least pretending to. Now the message is clear. They're symbolizing what they believe animals should be allowed to do: live freely and graze without ending up on a plate. But look closer and you'll see that some of them aren't even actually eating the grass, just pretending to nibble. Of course, the internet had a field day with this one. Some praised the creativity, others, no, not so much. But should protests go this far to prove a point, or is this just performance art taken a little bit too literally?
Yeah, it's right up there. You see it? Yeah, it's above the rock. Yeah. Oh my god!
The man behind this footage claims to have captured a UFO encounter in the sky, and honestly, you'll want to see this for yourself. In the video, there are two strange crafts hovering in the distance. They're small, indicating that they're likely very far away. For a while, the craft remains stationary, but then something unexpected happens. Toward the end of the footage, the two crafts suddenly flash brightly and appear to explode in the sky. The explosion isn't massive, likely because of the distance, and, interestingly, there's no sound accompanying it. This has left people debating, could this really be a UFO incident, or is it something else entirely? Perhaps advanced drones, a military experiment, or even a staged hoax? What do you think?
Yeah, it's right up there. You see it? Yeah, it's above the rock. Yeah. Oh my God!
Ya ves, estaba parpadeando. Mire, mire, mire.
A couple went grocery shopping and got the shock of their lives when they picked a sealed packet of spinach. Inside, they found a huge frog alive and nestled amongst the leaves. It's hard to imagine how something like this could happen, but did the frog even get into the packaging without anyone noticing? Surely someone along the production line or at the store should have caught this. This incident is a strong reminder. Always thoroughly check your food before buying it.
Ya ves, estaba parpadeando. Mire, mire, mire.
Bears are massive creatures, and usually they'll eat just about anything to satisfy their enormous appetite. But a group of men recently had a very unusual encounter with one. They offered the bear a burger, and not just any burger, a McDonald's burger, and to their surprise, the bear refused to eat it. It sniffed the burger and even gave it a little nudge with its nose, but then turned away. At one point, one of the men even tried placing the burger close to its mouth, but the bear just spat it out. Now, that's odd. Why would a bear turn down fast food? Some people believe that maybe the bear knew better. With its powerful sense of smell, it probably picked up on all the preservatives and artificial stuff packed into a burger and decided no thanks. Others think the bear was simply full. Maybe it had already eaten and didn't feel like indulging any further. Still, it's not every day that a wild animal turns down a burger. If even a bear won't eat it, well, should we?
На, держи. Мясо давай, Том, мясо. Вот. Том, неправильно. Давай. Том.
Не хочет.
Не хочет. Нет.
Someone visited a graveyard and ended up capturing something unusual. As they slowly panned their camera across the quiet, somber cemetery, they caught something that didn't quite belong, something that sent a chill down their spine. There, right at one of the graves, was a figure. It appeared to be someone or something sitting directly on the grave. The figure was hunched over with its back turned to the camera. It looked like it was draped in tattered dark cloth, almost like old burial fabric. Its head was bowed low. The figure never reacts, never turns around, and before anything else can happen, the video ends. So what exactly did this person capture? Was it just someone grieving quietly at a loved one's grave wearing layers of clothing? Or was this something else entirely, like a spirit maybe? A man decided to explore an abandoned house. As he wandered through the dusty, decaying rooms, he stumbled upon something unusual in one of them. There was an animal-shaped figure, and its head was moving on its own. At first, he thought it was a live animal, but as he got closer, he realized it was just a toy. So he decided to investigate further. He even smacked the toy's head, causing it to dangle back and forth. But here's the creepy part. The toy wasn't designed to move on its own. There were no batteries, no wires, nothing to explain its movement. Could the toy be possessed? Some believe objects like this can become vessels for paranormal activity, especially in places with tragic or mysterious histories. Others think it could be simply a coincidence, maybe something mechanical we can't see is causing the movement. So what do you think? I've seen some strange, bizarre things, but I'm not sure where this fits. The clip introduces us to a woman who appears to be taking something from a hole in the ground. Once she succeeds, she stumbles backwards almost as though she was pushed. There doesn't appear to be anyone there with her aside from the person filming, which begs the question, who or what pushed her down? Some think there's a spirit there with them. Aaron notes that what she pulled out looks like a teddy or something along those lines. According to him, it's possibly a spirit that may be responsible. Others in the paranormal community think she may have just slipped or intentionally stumbled for the sake of content. Personally, I don't want to believe someone will punish themselves that much for a few likes, but, well, what do I know? In Petrovka, a small village in Russia, a man shared some fascinating footage that has sparked both awe and curiosity. The video shows a group of orbs pulsating in the sky, moving and dancing in an almost synchronized manner. The sight is undeniably beautiful, but also deeply mysterious, leaving many viewers wondering what exactly is happening. Could this be some form of alien activity or extraterrestrial craft, as some might speculate? Or is it a natural phenomenon, perhaps something related to atmospheric anomalies, ball lightning, or even an unusual reflection of light? While it's easy to let our imaginations run wild, we can't help but ponder whether these orbs are connected to something we don't yet fully understand. What do you think? A man in a field noticed a long, large creature moving ahead of him. Based on its appearance and movement, it didn't seem like a snake, as it moved forward in a way that snakes don't. They tend to slither. This creature, however, appeared to be something else, perhaps resembling a giant millipede. It's intriguing because millipedes are known for their segmented bodies and many legs, which give them a distinct rolling or walking movement. If this was indeed a giant millipede, it could be a rare or undiscovered species. What do you think it could be? An unusual insect, a large millipede, or something else entirely? Disturbing allegations have surfaced over the years about horrifying practices said to involve these elites. In an interview with Joe Rogan, Mike Tyson revealed some of these chilling claims. According to him, homeless people are being abducted off the streets, taken to mansions, and hunted for sport. Yes, you heard that right, hunted like animals. But Tyson's claims are not isolated. On an episode of Dr. Phil, a woman who identifies herself as a survivor of human trafficking recounted her own harrowing experiences. She claimed she had also been hunted for sport by some of the most high-profile individuals. Most of them were celebrities, athletes, and even influential public figures. According to her, these horrific acts are carried out in secret, with victims chosen from the most vulnerable corners of society. And then there's the recent legal battle involving Diddy. While the case itself doesn't directly involve human hunting, it has sparked renewed scrutiny of the activities of the global elite. Allegations of abuse, exploitation, and even more sinister acts are surfacing. These accusations, as shocking as they are, beg the question: how deep does this go? Are these just conspiracy theories, or is there a horrifying truth?
They would buy us just to hunt us. Some laid traps for us, and others would track us down like animals.
Yo, I've never seen nothing like that.
In this next footage, I'm not exactly sure where it was taken, but the scene is intriguing and unsettling. It's nighttime, and a woman is standing by the roadside. The surroundings are dimly lit with only the occasional glow of passing headlights, but something extraordinary happens that draws everyone's attention. The horizon is illuminated by a bright, vivid blue light. There are other people standing nearby. They're all transfixed, staring at the light with an almost hypnotic focus. No one seems to know what's happening. This doesn't look natural. It feels more like a freak event. Am I overthinking things, or are we really dealing with something else entirely? Something beyond our understanding?
Yo, I've never seen nothing like that.
The image on your screen is allegedly a popular one from as far back as September 2019. The one who shared it with me stated it went viral because while casually taking a photograph of her friend, the photographer ended up capturing something supernatural. I know it looks very ordinary at first glance, but pay attention to the kid in the frame. Doesn't something look different, maybe even odd and strange about her? She appears to be running, but that's not the point of emphasis. Unlike the rest of the objects in the image, she appears washed out. Someone might even say devoid of color. The lady didn't, however, notice this till the next day when she started to review the pics. She got another angle from someone else, and that same little girl was in it. She shared the footage online, and many agreed that it had to be a ghost or lost spirit. They feel she might have been subjected to something traumatic in that area, making it difficult for her spirit to find rest. What do you guys think? Have you ever had such an experience? In Korea, scientists have developed a robot, or rather an army of robots. These things are no bigger than ants. They're only about 600 micrometers tall. That's smaller than a grain of salt. But don't let their size fool you, because what they lack in size, they make up for in teamwork, just like real ants. These micro-robots swarm, coordinate, and work together to complete tasks. Researchers have already tested them doing things like unclogging a tube, breaking an electrical circuit, and even moving across obstacles by literally launching themselves off each other. Yeah, they throw themselves over barriers to get to the other side, and they move by using electromagnetic fields, gliding and darting across surfaces with eerie precision. Everything about them is designed to mimic real ants. They're said to help in a lot of fields. Here we have another chilling piece of footage captured by a security camera on a driveway. The video shows a humanoid figure, hunched over and pale, almost ghostly white, slowly moving in the dead of night. The footage comes from a homeowner in Kentucky, and so far, no one has been able to explain exactly what this figure is. One thing is certain, it doesn't appear to be human. Its unnatural posture and sluggish movements led many to suggest it could be a cryptid. Some viewers believe it might be the infamous rake, others think it could be a wendigo. There are also some who think there's nothing supernatural about this and that it's probably an unwell naked person. But what do you think? Another homeowner, but this time in the Colorado mountains, shared a strange experience online. He'd been hearing eerie footsteps on his deck, but when he went out to check, there was no one there. Curious, he decided to review the footage from his doorbell camera, and what he saw shocked him. The camera captured a large ape-like creature walking outside of the door. The creature was moving on 2 feet, and its size was massive. The homeowner believes this creature could be a Bigfoot. However, not everyone is convinced. Julius claims the footage is AI-generated, and even Aaron pointed out the creature's arms aren't as long as the traditional descriptions of Bigfoot would suggest. What do you think? Could this be a genuine sighting of Bigfoot, or is it just a clever digital fabrication? A man and his dog were taking a quiet stroll through the woods when something strange caught their eye. Curious, he pulled out his phone and started recording, hoping to capture whatever was looking around. As he panned his camera slowly through the trees, it happened. Out of nowhere, a dark, humanoid shadow emerged from behind one of the trees. It was pitch black, almost like a moving silhouette with no real form. The moment the man spotted it, he freaked out and took off running, his dog right behind him. Watch the footage again. There it is. A shadow that seemed to have no source, just standing there, then vanishing as quickly as it came. Now, while some skeptics are calling this edited footage, others believe the man may have a real encounter with a shadow person, one of those mysterious entities that people report seeing during sleep paralysis, in haunted places, or in the deep woods like this. What do you think he saw? Some guys had gone out to film something, maybe just a casual video or some kind of skit. One of them was behind the camera while the other crouched down in front, maybe getting into position for a shot. Everything seemed normal at first, but then, suddenly, the guy on the ground jumps up and bolts, sprinting full speed away from the trees behind him. It looks random at first until a few seconds later we see why. Out from the trees, something massive comes charging straight toward him. It's huge, tall, and dark. The figure looks like a classic Bigfoot, towering, bulky, and covered in hair. But the moment is so brief that you can only catch a quick glimpse before the camera begins to shake violently, because the guy filming also starts running for his life. There's no audio in the footage, but you can almost feel the panic. Now here's the thing. We've seen countless Bigfoot sightings and blurry videos over the years, and this one fits that pattern, short, sudden, and just eerie enough. Some viewers believe it's one of the most genuine sightings out there, arguing that the fear and reactions look way too real to be fake. But skeptics are not convinced. They say it could easily be staged, with someone in a costume running out on cue. But as always, the clip ends before we get a clear view. So what do you guys think? Is this just another fake Bigfoot video, or did these guys catch Bigfoot on camera? Stepping away from all that, this was uploaded online by a concerned homeowner. It doesn't take too long to see why the individual uploaded the clip. There's a strange-looking creature on the staircase. We do see something wriggling and moving around on the staircase, but it's difficult to tell what it is. Fearing for their safety, the person didn't get too close. From what can be seen, though, there are some in the community as well as my team who think it's a lobster or some other kind of seafood. Some say it might be a baby salamander or lizard. Others think it could be a parasitic worm or some form of mutated insect. There are many opinions and none without merit. Try as I did, I couldn't identify the creature. Julius refused to comment, so I'm a bit confused here. Does anyone know what we're dealing with? Is it even real at all? Let us hear your thoughts in the comments section. Have you ever heard of Kenny Veach? Back in 2014, Kenny Veach, a hiker and YouTuber, shared a strange discovery he claimed to have made while exploring the Nevada desert. According to Kenny, he stumbled upon a cave shaped like the letter M, but this wasn't just any cave. As he got closer, he said he felt an intense vibration coming from it. Spooked by the experience, he left the area and shared the story on his channel, but curiosity got the better of him. Kenny decided to return to the desert to investigate. He went back out there alone and never came back. Despite multiple search efforts, no trace of Kenny was ever found. The only thing search teams discovered was his cell phone. It was found near an old, abandoned mine shaft, and that was the last sign of him. To this day, no one knows what happened, whether he got lost in the cave, fell into a mine shaft, or if the cave had something to do with his disappearance. Some believe the M cave holds secrets the world isn't meant to find. Others think it was all just a tragic accident. What do you think? By now, most of us have heard about the direwolves that were brought back from extinction. Everyone is talking about it. And it's no secret that scientists are also working on re-engineering the existence of mammoths and other long-gone species. But now, in China, researchers have made yet another mind-blowing discovery. They've uncovered what they believe to be a fossilized embryo. Not just an embryo, this one belonged to a dinosaur. Yeah, an actual dinosaur. The fossil, discovered back in the year 2000, has been sitting in storage preserved until just recently when scientists finally took a deeper look. What they found left them stunned. It's a nearly intact dinosaur embryo estimated to be around 72 million years old. And here's where it gets even more bizarre. The embryo seems to belong to a feathered dinosaur species likely related to early birds. The creature was curled up inside its egg in a position almost identical to how modern-day bird embryos rest just before hatching. It's eerie familiar. Now, with today's level of genetic engineering and cloning advancements, you can probably guess what some researchers are thinking. Yep, bringing it back. We're getting dangerously close to making real-life Jurassic Park a thing. The big question is, just because we can bring back extinct apex predators, should we? We've got some very tricky footage that's been circulating online, and it has everyone completely torn about what it actually shows. The video captures this strange object just floating in the sky. It appears to be twisting and rising almost like it's alive. At the top of it, you can see lights that look almost like flickering flames, while the lower part trails off in this rope-like shape, almost like a tendril or a tail. Now, some people are saying it's just a balloon that caught fire, or maybe even a drone going down in flames. But the paranormal community thinks it might be something else entirely. Some believe this could be a jellyfish UFO, which is a type of unidentified flying object that just looks organic, almost like a deep-sea creature floating through the sky. And honestly, here's the strange part. If it was a balloon or a drone on fire, it should have fallen, but this thing stayed up, floating steadily, even pausing mid-air at one point as if it was controlling its movement. It didn't behave like something crashing. So what do you think? In the middle of the night, a motor rider was brought to a sudden halt. Right there in the middle of the road, a strange woman stood ahead, blocking his path. He thought it was just someone who'd lost their way, but the way she stood didn't feel right, so the rider slowed down. The road was empty, and it was late, so he had to get on his way, but this woman was there blocking him. Eventually, he mustered up courage and decided to keep riding, but oddly, the strange person also started to run away when he got closer. Unfortunately, we never got a close look at who or what she was. What do you think, though? Was that a woman out there late at night, or did he encounter an entity of some sort? A woman from Las Vegas recently shared a video that left a lot of people unsettled. She was driving down a road when she noticed something strange. All the electric poles and streetlights were lying horizontally across the road, one after another, bent or knocked down like matchsticks, and this went on for miles. Something had clearly hit the area hard, and it's terrifying to think about what kind of force could do this. But before we let our imaginations run wild with theories, some people did clarify what had happened. There had been a severe dust storm in the area, and the winds were so strong that they uprooted poles, tore down trees, and caused major damage across several blocks. Still, seeing this kind of destruction firsthand is scary. We often underestimate the force of nature, but when it decides to show its power, there is no stopping it. These days, when people hear satanic worship, the first thing that usually comes to mind is something with strange symbols on their face, wearing upside-down crosses and cursing out Christianity. But back in the day, satanic worship was way darker than just edgy fashion statements. A group of explorers were out in a remote wooded area in California when they came across an opening in the ground. Curious, they decided to go in, and it led them straight into what looked like an underground facility. This place, according to locals, was once used as a satanic temple, and what they found inside made that pretty clear. All over the space were signs of disturbing rituals. Human remains, actual bones were scattered across the area. Some were even embedded into the concrete walls. The place was dusty, and strange symbols and writings were on the walls. But one of the eeriest things they noticed was the shoes. Lots of them. Old, worn-out shoes lying around in corners and along the walls. The rumor is that back in the day, victims of these rituals were kidnapped, used in sacrifices, and never seen again. So those shoes might have belonged to them. It's terrifying to think about, but it shows how deep and dark things may have once been. Nowadays, if satanic worship like that still exists, it's hidden. So the next time someone laughs it off or says it's just some goth trend, just remember there are places out there that tell a much more sinister story. Someone shared this video from New Zealand, and it's got the internet talking. They captured this strange creature coming out of the water. It kind of looked like a dolphin, but it was darker, smaller, and way more unusual. Turns out what they saw is known as the New Zealand longfin eel. These creatures are native to New Zealand and are actually critically endangered. They can grow over 6 feet long, live for decades, and spend most of their life in fresh water before heading out to the ocean to breed once and then die. People rarely see them out like this, especially coming up from the water like that. So when one shows up unexpectedly, it almost feels like spotting something out of a legend. Nature is full of surprises. Take a look at this footage. It shows what appears to be a fish in a dimly lit murky tank, but this is no ordinary fish. At first glance, it looks like something you'd find in a horror-themed aquarium exhibit. The way it floats there, motionless in the shadowy water, feels unsettling. People online have used this exact clip in countless horror edits, labeling it as one of those abandoned aquarium horrors, but believe it or not, this creature is real. It's said to be a dolphin, but not the kind you're used to see, smiling and leaping through the waves at sea parks. This one is a species rarely seen, possibly sick or simply aged in captivity, which may explain its haunting appearance. Without the vibrant lighting and ocean spray, what we see is this. And what is even more unsettling is that no one really knows the origin of this image to this day. So would you want to come face to face with this in a darkened aquarium? After a heavy rain, the river flooded the area, and when the waters finally receded, something strange was left behind. The ground was soaked in thick mud, but then something moved. Right there on the wetland, a strange creature is seen slithering across the mud. It's slim, slick, and tentacle-like. It looks just like an octopus. But what was it doing all the way out here on land far from the sea? It twisted and glided towards a small hole in the ground and slipped in sight like it belonged there. Now, people are confused. Some say it could have been washed up from a nearby body of water. Others think it's something unknown, maybe even a land-dwelling relative we haven't classified yet. So what was this creature really? A family had recently put their beloved dog to rest. It was a heartbreaking loss, and they truly loved their dog and missed it deeply. But then, something strange and touching happened. One day, the mother and the daughters noticed something unusual on the glass door leading outside. At first, they thought their eyes were playing tricks on them, but no, there it was. The silhouette of their dog was sitting just outside the door in the exact way it used to when it wanted to be let in. The familiar shape and posture were unmistakable. They were overwhelmed with emotion. It was as if their dog had come back to visit them, even for just a moment. The shadowy figure stayed there quietly before slowly fading away. It didn't feel scary. It felt comforting, like a final goodbye, or maybe a sign that their loyal companion was still watching over them. Someone shared this wild video they took one night, just as a storm seemed to be rolling in. You can see the clouds overhead are thick and swirling, the wind is picking up, and lightning is flashing through the sky. But then, something strange happens. As the lightning lights up the night sky, a massive dark shape appears above the clouds. Take a close look. It's not just any shape, it looks like an upside-down pyramid hovering in the sky. It's not just some blur or smudge either. The outline is sharp, it's solid, and it's just there, floating and unmoving. The paranormal community went wild over this. Many believe what we're looking at is a cloaked UFO, something hiding in the sky and only revealed for a brief second when the lightning hits. But not everyone's convinced. Some skeptics claim this could be edited footage. So what's the truth? Humans are already a little freaked out by how robots keep getting smarter and more human-like, but it seems scientists don't exactly share that fear. Researchers from MIT have developed new imaging technology that, this tech allows to see through solid matter, through walls and boxes. It works by using signals similar to Wi-Fi to detect movement and shapes behind obstacles. The system is called MNORM, and it's designed to let robots visualize what's happening on the other side of a barrier without needing a clear line of sight. That means they can track objects or even people who are hidden from view. So if you ever imagined yourself running from a rogue robot and thought hiding behind a wall would save you, well, not anymore. That wall will not do much if the robot has this tech. Well, that's terrifying, right? While it's an incredible leap for robotics and imaging, it definitely adds to the growing list of things that make robots just a little too powerful. Someone shared a video of their toilet, and this isn't a plumbing issue. This looks like a deep toilet bowl, but then the camera pans in, and you realize it's endless. There's this strange black coating lining the inside, and the hole just keeps going down and down with no end. It almost doesn't look like a toilet anymore. It looks like a portal. People in the comments were joking that this must be the gateway to the underworld, but others weren't laughing. Because who installs something like this in a home? And how is it even allowed to be that deep? And most importantly, who's or what's at the bottom? If you're thinking it's just a bad design, then let's just agree on one thing. Kids definitely should not be using this. A couple had just moved into a new house. They didn't have any kids, and for the most part, things were quiet until one evening something unexplainable happened. The wife was walking through the hallway just going about her usual routine when she suddenly stopped in her tracks. Standing there in the dimly lit corridor was what looked like a little girl just staring at her. She was stunned. They didn't have children, there was no one else living in the house, and yet right in front of her was a small girl in a white dress with long black hair that hung below her shoulders. Shaken, she quickly took a photograph of what she saw and later showed it to her husband when he got home. He didn't know what to say, but the figure was right there. Even after running the image through several filters and enhancements, the girl remained in the photo even clearer now. This wasn't just a smudge or shadow, it was distinct. It looked real. Some people online suggested the house might be an old building, and it could easily carry the imprint of someone from its past. Maybe what she saw was the spirit of a child who once lived there and never left. So what do you think? Have you ever had the feeling that someone was in bed with you? Well, no, me neither, but the person you're watching in the clip right now had that exact sensation. And the funny thing is, she really did see something moving in her bed. Weird, right? The explanation many gave for this was she got a spirit in her bed. Personally, I think so too, but you guys can share your theories on this one. Personally, I may have never returned to that room after this, but hey, each to their own. Someone came face to face with this creature in the woods one night. I'm not sure what they were doing out there that late, but what they saw was scary. The creature had 4 legs and was covered in thick black fur. It had a dog-like appearance, but it was much bigger than any dog you'd expect to see in the wild. Its body was massive, and the way it moved was slow but deliberate, almost like it was watching. Now, people are split on what exactly this could be. Some are saying it might be a wolf or a large stray dog, but even then the size seems off. Others think it could be a cryptid, something like a dogman or even a werewolf. There are also those who believe this might be some sort of mutated animal or something that isn't supposed to exist at all. So what do you think? Is this just a large animal caught in the wrong light, or did someone stumble into a territory of something much more mysterious? Someone spotted this massive mosquito-looking insect trying to suck their blood, and honestly, just looking at it, you'd think it could drain a person dry in seconds. It's huge and definitely not your average mosquito. But it's not even a mosquito at all. What you're looking at is actually called a robber fly. And while they do look a lot like giant mosquitoes, they're not the same at all. Robber flies are predators, but they don't get after humans. Instead, they hunt other insects. That long needle-like mouthpiece isn't for blood, it's for stabbing and feeding on bugs like beetles, wasps, and other flies. They're fast, aggressive hunters, and they look terrifying, but for humans, they're mostly harmless. So while this insect might look like it could cause damage, there's no need to panic. It's not coming for your blood.
Cover my back, alright? What the hell's that? That on the floor. Right there. Oh,
shit! 2 men had gone to explore an old, abandoned building. Now, this wasn't just any building. It was rumored to have been built over an ancient Native American burial ground. To make things even creepier, some say the former owner dabbled in the occult. The men had their camera gear and flashlights ready as they made their way through the dark. But then, the atmosphere shifted. They started hearing noises. It wasn't wind, it wasn't creaking wood, it was something moving. As they turned the camera toward one of the doors, everything changed. You could actually hear both of them gasp, and then they bolt out of there at full speed, completely spooked. So what did they see? Well, let's slow it down and take a closer look. At the doorway, crouched low, was something tall and unnaturally thin. The figure looked like it was trying to duck under the frame. It had what seemed to be a draped white cloth over its head and body, almost like a veil, but there was something about its proportions that didn't quite look human. You'd miss it if you blinked. The camera moves fast because, honestly, the cameraman was clearly terrified. But now here's where it gets interesting. Some people say this was a spirit or entity, maybe something summoned by dark rituals. Others believe it's tied to the history of the land itself, like a restless spirit guarding the burial ground. But not everyone is convinced. One commenter claimed it was just a person under a white sheet, implying the whole thing was staged. But let's be real, if it was a hoax, it was done eerily well. The men's reactions seemed raw, like they genuinely saw something.
Cover my bag, alright? What the hell's that? That on the floor. Right there.
Bread is one of the most common food items you'll find in every household, and you'd think that with how simple the ingredients are, bread would be one of the most authentic foods out there. But apparently, that's not the case anymore. Just like how fake and heavily processed foods are flooding our shelves, bread has not been spared. A video recently shared by a woman shows just how strange things have gotten. She bought a loaf of bread, just regular store-bought bread, but watch what happens as she squeezes the slice tightly in her hand, expecting it to crumple or tear like fresh bread should. But it didn't. Instead, the bread slowly unraveled back into its original shape, almost like it was made of foam or some kind of stretchable plastic. It looks less like food and more like a plastic bag that got wrinkled and then smoothed back out. This has led many to believe that the bread we're eating might contain microplastics, tiny invisible plastic particles that have somehow made their way into food. Not only are they not meant to be consumed, but they can also be extremely harmful to our health. And if you're ever feeling suspicious, here's something to try. Notice how most store-bought bread barely goes bad. It just sits there for days, sometimes weeks without molding. Why? Because all of the preservatives, additives, and chemicals packed into it. At this point, can we even call it bread anymore?
Bread, it should stay. Why the is it coming back to life? Just give it a second. It's pumping back up. It's pumping back up.
You've probably seen this image somewhere online and wondered what this was all about. Somehow, we got a creature that looks like the hybrid of a rat and a human. Now, I'm no biologist, but even I know that neither humans nor rats are supposed to look this way. The creature is hunched and has bare skin, with the only hair available to it on its head and back. Before my research for this video, I didn't know where it came from or even if it was real. Turns out, I was not the only one ignorant about its origins. There was a lot of speculation on the internet. Some theories stated that this thing we see is the result of a divine punishment meted out to a young girl who tore apart the Quran. Yes, she was allegedly cursed by Allah. The story was meant to be a warning, yet almost everyone with whom I engaged who saw this image as a child claimed it traumatized them, especially those in the Islamic faith for whom it was made. Many reported having nightmares after seeing this image, and I might have joined them if I hadn't discovered the truth. It turns out this wasn't a cursed girl or anything supernatural. No, the image isn't real. It was actually part of an art project of a celebrated Australian artist known for creating bizarre, skin-like hyper-realistic creatures. Anticlimactic, I know, but which would you prefer, knowing that there was a higher power that could turn you into something like this, or that the whole thing was fake and that you're safe? what is that thing? It's this long black mass moving across the ground. The footage was taken late at night and there's no one around. The area is completely empty and silent. The thing slithers or crawls slowly, but it definitely doesn't look like any normal animal. It almost seems alive, but there's no clear head or limbs. So what exactly are we looking at? Some say it's just debris or fabric blown by the wind. Others are convinced it's a creature or maybe even something paranormal. What do you think it is? A man recently shared a pretty intriguing video he captured during what was supposed to be a normal day out with his kids. They'd gone to a park near the edge of a wooded area, just enjoying some family time, when something unusual caught their attention. While the kids were running around and laughing, the man noticed something strange moving behind the trees. He quickly gathered his kids and pulled out his phone to record. At first, when you look at the footage, it seems like nothing more than dense trees. The tree line is packed tight, almost impossible to see through. But if you really focus, you can spot it, something massive lurking just beyond the brush. While the camera is still pointing toward the woods, you can clearly hear a low guttural growl. It echoes just enough to chill your spine. The growl immediately sets off the family. You hear the children calling out to their dad in fear, clearly shaken. The entire mood changes in a heartbeat from fun and games to panic. Now here's where it gets wild. People who've seen this footage say that what's behind those trees isn't just an animal. Many believe it was Bigfoot or at least something close to it. Based on its size and the sound, they say it's way too big to be a regular animal, and judging from how it moved, some think it was trying to stay hidden. But whatever it was huge, and it definitely wasn't a deer. This next moment was caught live, literally. This man was streaming from home when he suddenly heard something that made him freeze. It was his girlfriend's voice calling him from the other room. Even the dog heard, so its ears perked up instantly, reacting to the familiar voice. But here's where things get weird. His girlfriend wasn't home. She'd gone out hours ago. So who or what was calling him? Freaking out, he grabbed his phone and called her. When she picked up, she was calm but serious. She told him not to respond to whatever it was. That advice was chilling because it lines up perfectly with something we've heard about in paranormal world: mimics. These entities copy the voices of people we know, friends, family, anyone close. They use their voices to get us to open doors, come closer, or speak back. According to the lore, they need an invitation. Just like a vampire, they can't fully come in unless you let them. And in this case, calling out or walking toward the voice might have just been the invitation it needed. So if you ever hear a loved one calling from another room when they're not supposed to be there, it's best to not answer.
Look, y'all about to see how fake she is if you guys see her leave. Did y'all hear it? I don't know if they heard it, but
Hey, that's scary.
that is scary.
I heard about that on TikTok.
What?
Like, people will leave and they're like, I think they're called mimics or something. Like,
Oh, hell no. That's what they were talking about.
Some tourists were flying over a dense forest island when the unexpected happened. While they were enjoying the view, one person had their camera out filming the landscape below, and that's when they noticed something strange. There, walking through the trees, was a massive dark figure. It wasn't trying to blend in, it stood tall and still, watching the aircraft as it passed overhead. You can clearly see its shape in the video, but it didn't look like Bigfoot or any creature we usually hear about. This figure looked more humanoid. It appeared to be wearing a long dark robe, and the tourists were shocked. Some are now speculating that this could be one of the giants long rumored to have once roamed the earth. Legends speak of massive beings that lived in remote places away from humans, and maybe, just maybe, some of them still do. Could this be one of them? Normally, when you shine a flashlight up into the night sky, it just goes into endless dark space. The light beam stretches out and fades because, well, that's space above us, right? But what happened to one woman completely flipped that idea. She showed her flashlight at the sky, and there was a tree in front of her. As expected, the light lit up the tree. But the beam didn't keep going. It hit something. You can even see the shadow of the tree cast right up into the sky. It was as if the sky were a wall. That one video sent a ripple through the online abnormal community. Many believe it's visual proof of an ancient theory, the firmament, a dome above us, sealing us in like a snow globe. Something mentioned in ancient texts and conspiracy circles for decades, but not everyone is convinced. Some argue it could be a rare weather condition, perhaps dense moisture or particles in the air creating a reflection effect, something science might explain. So the question remains, is there a dome over us, or was it all just the weather? We have a chilling piece of footage that was shared by a woman who woke up in the middle of the night for a quick midnight snack and ended up getting more than she bargained for. As she was seated in the kitchen munching away some cereal, a childlike voice suddenly called out, "Mom." Startled, she looked around, but there was no one there. Here's the truly creepy part. She doesn't have any children. She lives with a roommate who is also an adult and who was fast asleep in their room at the time. So who or what had called out to her? To this day, she has no explanation. Even weirder, some people have pointed out an eerie pattern online. They claim instead of the ghost saying "Mom," it said "Hey." No one knows exactly why. Some think it's the way spirits try to mimic or reach out to people, especially women. Bizarre, I know, but what do you think? Did she really experience something paranormal, or was it just a hoax?
Oh, Jesus! Jackie? Hi.
What exactly are we looking at here? At first glance, it appears to be a white furred creature with the body of a rat and the face of a monkey. Its fur is snow white, and its face has this oddly human-like quality, especially around the eyes and nose. It's strange, almost unsettling. People online are divided. Some are convinced this is just CGI, but others aren't so sure. The movements all look a little too real. And with how far science has come, especially in genetic engineering, is it really that impossible? Let's not forget that scientists today are editing genes, reviving extinct species, and even mixing DNA to create hybrids in controlled labs. So who's to say something like a rat-monkey hybrid isn't real? Whether it's a hoax, a leaked lab creation, or something we're not meant to know about, this creature raises a lot of questions. So what do you think? Moving on, if you've been part of this community for a long time, then you've definitely heard of the conspiracy surrounding the Anunnaki. If you're hearing it for the first time, however, they're said to be an ancient advanced civilization that once inhabited Earth. Why is that important, you ask? Well, there are members of the community who believe they're returning. And the scary part is, they might actually be right. Before I say anything else, let's take a look at the clips currently playing on your screen. This was captured in St. Petersburg. In the footage, glowing objects appear out of nowhere, moving with unnerving coordination before streaming toward the Earth. Weird, I know, but there's even more. There have been other reports of balls of fire falling from the sky, and the odd thing is, no one knows what they are. Our previous episodes featured some of these balls of fire, and they were so realistic. Lately, strange phenomena like this has been ramping up all over the place, and the suspects for many is the Anunnaki. Individuals from different continents have reported loud, thunderous booms echoing from the sky. And these are not the trumpet-like skyquakes we've shared in the past. These are a bit more intense. Then there's the unexplained flashes, streaks, and pulses cutting across the sky. Many believe we're witnessing UFOs battling in the skies above us. Some think these UFOs actually have something to do with the Anunnaki. They believe the Anunnaki are back and not alone. They can't tell who they're back with, only that their battles are happening around us that we're not aware of. Sounds like a tall tale, but it's a working theory. My biggest concern is, what if it turns out to be truth? Are we doomed? This next footage was taken from a satellite, and as you can see, a bright spinning object is just hanging in the sky. Now we can't quite make out the details, it's too luminous, but what we can see is that this thing is moving. Most people who've seen this clip are convinced that this is a UFO, but as always, there's a divide. Some say it's just a lens flare or a drone, but the way it glows and spins, it's giving more not from here than tech gone wrong. What do you think? This next footage was shared by a couple, and it's one of those subtle but seriously creepy moments that just makes your skin crawl the more you watch it. They're on a regular video call. The wife was at home, just casually chatting with her husband. Everything seems totally normal. She was smiling and laughing until suddenly her whole expression changed. Out of nowhere, she quickly turns around. And it wasn't just a small glance. She whipped her head around like something startled her. Her husband, watching through the video call, saw it happen in real life and asked what was wrong. She said it felt like something had grabbed her hair from behind, but here's the thing, there was no one else there. You can even see when her hair lifted slightly in the footage. The woman did share that she'd recently lost a relative, which could explain what happened, but if it wasn't her late relative, then something else was in there with her that day. But what was it? Up next, we have a chilling video that was shared by a man who was home alone with his toddler son. He was casually live streaming when something very unexpected happened. In the corner of the room, near the curtains, a strange figure suddenly appeared. It was a pale woman, almost ghostly white, dressed in what looked like Victorian-era clothing. She wasn't moving, she just stood there, completely still, staring at the man and his son. And yes, it's just as creepy as it sounds. People in the comments were quick to point out that the house looks old, and many believe that this might be the spirit of a former resident. The way she appears and just watches in silence, there's something deeply unsettling about it. Remember the theory, some people believe that there is a dome or firmament surrounding the Earth. Well, something just happened that's got the believers talking again. A man from Carolina shared a video that's been making waves online. According to him, a meteorite or something like it fell straight into his front yard, smashing down, leaving a solid dent in the concrete. When he went out to inspect the damage, he found this object sitting right in the middle of the crater. It was this bluish, pearl-like object shimmering slightly. He claims it wasn't hot, but instead it cooled. Now, some are calling it space debris or a chunk of a meteor, but this doesn't look like the typical meteor we know. It looks like a ruby, and because of that, others believe it's a fragment of the firmament, which is a wild theory. That would mean that we are approaching an impending doom if the firmament is collapsing on us. What do you think? A group of people were out in the woods camping. One person was walking around with a camera filming the experience. You can see people sitting around a bonfire talking and others just walking about. Everything seemed normal until one particular clip revealed something no one expected. While the person filming slowly pans the camera across the scene, something strange happens. As the lens moves across the group, we briefly catch a strange figure moving through the space between the people. It looks almost human in shape, but not quite. The figure moves quickly and silently, passing by the fire and into the shadows on the other side. What's unsettling is that no one noticed it in real time. Not the people sitting around the fire, not the person behind the camera. No one saw or even felt anything. It wasn't until they reviewed the footage later that the figure was spotted, and it left everyone shocked. Skeptics, however, dismiss it as just smoke from the fire or a shadow, but watching closely, you can clearly see something step out of the woods on the left, walk calmly between the campers, and disappear into the darkness on the opposite side. What makes this even creepier is that the figure didn't stop, didn't interact, and didn't react to anyone there. It just walked through as if none of them existed. So did they capture a ghost, as far as spirit, or something else entirely? A man had gone out for a relaxing day of kayaking when he spotted something unusual swimming close to his boat. At first, it looked like a massive fish with a fin slicing through the surface of the water. He even assumed it had to be a whale. It was just that big. But as more of the creature came into view, it became clear this was not a whale at all. Turns out what he'd encountered was actually a basking shark. And while the word shark might immediately set off alarm bells, there's no need to panic. This shark is not dangerous. The basking shark is the second largest living shark species in the world, only behind the whale shark. But they are completely harmless to humans. These gentle giants feed on plankton, not people, and they're known for just cruising near the surface with their mouths open wide, filtering out food. Despite their enormous size and prehistoric look, they're calm, slow-moving, and more curious than threatening. Still, imagine being out in a kayak alone on the water and seeing the giant fin pop up next to you. Even if you knew it was harmless, it'd still be scary. This footage was taken in the Kremlin in Moscow, and what witnesses saw that night left everyone stunned. Hovering silently in the sky was a massive black pyramid-shaped object, and no, this wasn't the first time something like this has been spotted. A documentary even covered this phenomenon, showing the object from multiple angles, and here's where it gets even weirder. Similar pyramid UFOs have been reported over China, the Pentagon, and even above a US warship. That's not just a coincidence. To many, this is proof that what we are seeing isn't human technology. People are starting to believe that these could be aliens, possibly the same beings who were behind the construction of the pyramids around the world. What do you think? Is this just secret military tech, or are we seeing something extraterrestrial? Back in 2012, this image stirred up a storm online. It was making rounds on Reddit and other forums, and people everywhere were losing it. The photo showed what looked like a pitch-black werewolf crouched and crawling up a staircase. People believed it was real. The angle, the lighting, the posture, everything about it screamed found footage of something we weren't supposed to see, and panic posts flooded the comments section. But the truth is, it wasn't real. After several investigations, it was discovered that this so-called werewolf wasn't a creature at all. If you look closely at the front limb, you'll notice that it looks like hands. That's because the figure wasn't a beast, but rather a custom werewolf suit. The suit was created by a costume designer, bought and used to stage the photograph. The credit where it's due, they did nail it. It was terrifyingly realistic, especially in 2012, when photo editing and AI manipulation weren't as advanced as today. Now looking back, we can pick out the digital tells, but back then, it had people clutching their pillows and triple locking their doors, because if that thing were real, whoever took the photograph would not have lived to post it. But hey, it doesn't make it any less chilling to look at. Some people had just finished paying their respects at a graveyard when something strange happened. As they were about to leave, they started hearing faint noises from beneath them. One of them pulled out their phone and moved closer to one of the graves. They leaned in for a better look when a hand shot out of the grave. It reached straight toward the phone like it was trying to snatch it. Everyone screamed and stumbled back in shock, and there has been no explanation about it. Some claim it was a prank, others are not so sure. So could it have been a spirit? On Mars, researchers captured this. It might look like just another Martian rock formation, but zoom in and you'll see a long, transparent, tunnel-like structure stretching through the dusty surface. People have started calling them the glass tunnels of Mars, and that's exactly what they look like. Giant see-through pipelines crisscrossing the red terrain. But who or what made them? Some believe these are just natural formations, maybe the result of ancient lava tubes, sandstorms, or some unique geological process that we don't fully understand yet. But some theorists point to the idea of giant Martian worms tunneling just beneath the surface, leaving behind translucent trails. Sounds wild, but in a world where we barely understand our own oceans, how can we be so sure about another planet? Then there are those who believe this could be signs of intelligent life that made these structures to transport something or someone long before we ever set eyes on the planet. Either way, the existence of these so-called glass tunnels is a mystery no one's been able to fully explain. We start today in Mexico, where a mystery has divided the community. That mystery is in this video. Can you see it? Okay, so if you haven't already seen it, there's a white humanoid staring in the direction of the one filming. We don't see much of it, but from what's visible, it's definitely not human. It appears to have white skin, which made some people think it could be a rake. The thing about that opinion is the only thing in it that's common with a rake is its color or complexion. Its facial features were far from what we've come to accept a rake looks like. A lot more individuals felt the creature looked more like an extraterrestrial being than it did anything from the planet Earth. Simply put, they believed the lady filmed an alien, which is the suspicion she herself had before uploading the clip. Naturally, this led to a debate among community members, and the said debate only got worse and competitive when some in the community also started saying the white being was most likely digitally created and inserted. This is one of those clips where we've got a lot of opinions, so a little footage. Anyway, take a good look and let me know what you also think. My vanilla ice cream lovers, where are you? You might want to sit down for this one and maybe set that cone aside just for a second. Here's the deal. Scientists have been working on a way to make more vanilla flavor for all our ice cream cravings. Sounds great, right? Well, hold that excitement because it's about to get weird. They've apparently figured out how to turn plastic waste, yes, actual garbage, into vanilla flavoring. You heard that right. From plastic bottles to vanilla ice cream. Wondering how? They use E. coli bacteria. They're genetically modifying it to break down plastic and convert it into a compound called vanillin, which is the stuff that gives vanilla its signature taste and smell. And technically, it's safe, technically. But how comfortable are you knowing that your ice cream might have started life as a soda bottle? Look, innovation is cool and all, but when we start turning plastic waste into food additives, it makes you wonder then if there is a problem. There's going to be microplastic in there, which is very harmful to us. Now, before tasting ice cream, our minds would race with the thought of whether we're really tasting vanilla or recycled trash. So let me know what you think, because honestly, I don't know whether to be impressed or terrified. There are people who seem to invite strange things into their lives, and this man might be one of them. He didn't just stumble into the paranormal, he embraced it. According to his videos, he began practicing dark magic and he filmed everything. In these clips, he's constantly holding onto a strange-looking doll, almost like it's part of a ritual. His eyes turn a ghostly white, and he starts to levitate, all while murmuring something low under his breath. Something no one can quite make out. Ever since he started these rituals, things have never been the same in his house. The doll is always near him when the unexplainable begins. It never just sits still. Sometimes it gets dragged across the floor by something unseen. Other times it falls onto him or hits him as if something is trying to get his attention, or maybe warn him. And then there's the mirror. He has this full-length mirror next to him during these sessions, and for some reason it's always involved. People have seen it fall off the wall with force and crash onto the ground, only to suddenly stand upright on its own moments later. No one touches it, there's no explanation. What's even more unnerving is that it's always just him. He's alone, filming these moments, never looking scared, just destined, like he's getting used to it, or like he's not alone anymore. Many viewers believe he might have brought something into his home, something that isn't leaving, something connected to the doll or the mirror, or maybe even him. Is he performing actual rituals that open doors to another realm, or is this just staged? If you've ever played horror-themed games on Roblox or similar platforms, you've probably seen this image. It's that sudden, pale face of a girl with her mouth grotesquely stretched open popping up on your screen with no warning, just to give you a good scare. But this image has been a mystery for years. People have always asked where it came from. Turns out it's not original to Roblox. It's actually a still frame from the Japanese horror movie The Grudge. The character with the ghostly pale skin and gaping mouth is one of the most iconic faces in Asian horror, and now she's been turned into a jump scare meme across the internet. So the next time you're just casually playing a game and this face flashes on your screen, just know you've been haunted by one of horror's creepiest classics. People have all sorts of ghost encounters, and not all of them look the same. Some ghosts appear just like us, humanoid figures in old-fashioned clothes, shadows in the hallway, and many more. But now and then, someone captures something so strange, it doesn't even fit the usual ghost story. One woman was home alone when she decided to take a quick video of her living room. Nothing unusual was happening. She simply panned the camera across the room, filming the empty couch. But instead, she saw this. Floating just above the couch was a smoke-like figure. She immediately freaked out. There was no smoke in the house and the windows were closed. The thing looked like something forming. Some viewers said it resembled a spirit manifesting, like an entity in the process of taking shape. Others argued it could be a camera distortion or dust caught in the light, but the woman insisted there was nothing in the room when she filmed it. Some say ghosts are souls with unfinished business, but what if some spirits never looked human to begin with? What if some of them are just something else entirely? Next, take a good look at this clip and tell me if you see anything wrong. If you said that branch is floating, then you're absolutely correct. It's a branch all by itself in the air, and somehow it's perfectly fine. Naturally, everyone's reaction is glitch, but take a good look and tell me how it's there. We featured the best response in our next video. This footage was taken from the black box camera of a car. The owner had been driving home late one night when something caught his eye, something up ahead on the road. At first, he brushed it off. It was dark, his eyes were tired, but later curiosity got the better of him. He retrieved the footage from his car's dash cam, and what he saw left him completely shaken. Right there on the video was a dark figure crawling across the road on all fours. The footage is grainy, of course, and the night is pitch black, but the shape is unmistakable. It moves low to the ground, not walking, not running, but crawling. Now theories have been flying ever since the video was shared online. Some people say it was just a shadow or a reflection caught by the camera in the darkness, maybe a trick of the headlights, but others aren't so sure. A good number of viewers believe it could be an apparition, something paranormal. Then some have taken a darker route, suggesting that this may have been a cryptid, perhaps a skinwalker, a crawler, or an unknown creature. Whatever it is, it wasn't just the camera that saw it. The driver did too, and that's what gets you thinking. Anyway, with that, we come to the very end. So do me a favor. If you got any videos, you got any pictures, you got anything that you can give us, please send it to us at classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. In the comments, if anybody asks, which they do sometimes, just tell them, just write to them and say classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. That is where you can grab hold of us. I've been Steve. This has been Classified Captures. Now do me a favor and share this with as many people as you can. Let's get those views up there. And I'll see you in the next one.